This video was brought to you by NZXT. Great technology, selection, and service.
Hello everyone, this is Dimitri with Hardware Canucks, and I think we can all agree that NZXT cases are highly competitive, that provide a wide spectrum of offerings, and one thing they've managed to do well is spot on pricing. So today we're taking a look at the latest Phantom Edition. This is the P240 with an attractive price of $69. And as I said in the past, NZXT loves their angular design, and you can spot and differentiate their chassis from a mile away, but they're adding a bit of curves in the mix, and the P240 feels more ergonomic with a hint of the classical Phantom aesthetic with that angular window. Now let's do our usual exterior tour. So the front and top shells are plastic, but I love that curvature that gives this case character and that Star Trooper feel. They've also done a great job with the actual white tones that are almost identical between the plastic and the steel side panels. The front door opens with this press to release hinge that was actually quite loose on our sample. The door swivels just at 90 degrees, that is limiting, so just be careful with that. And behind which we get 3 optical bays. And behind the front panel we get 1 fan included, plus you can add a second intake fan for improved thermals, although the drive cage wall is fairly restrictive. Plus the cutout on the front panel isn't as open, so expect the top fan to be less effective, and I wish the front panel mesh was higher to allow less resistive intake. Coming to the top, we have dual 120 and 140mm mounts, and given how tall the top cover is, installing either the fans or the radiators above the frame is an option, although there's no dedicated dust filter here, but instead a somewhat fine mesh that will catch settling dust. Here we also find 2 USB 3 ports, audio jacks, PR buttons, and a hard drive activity LED. At the rear we get an exhaust fan, 7 PCI slots, the P240 stands on tall case feet, and while I really dislike these type of dust filters, at least they do cover both the power supply intake and the optional bottom fan slot that you can still populate even with 180mm power supply units. So now let's get inside, and one thing to point out is the angular side window and how revealing it is. I actually like this approach, showing off your storage compartment, plus a little bit of your power supply, although I wish the window was tinted. Inside we find a totally white frame with a removable top drive cage. There are no fan mounts on the internal wall, however, instead holes to secure the drive caddies. So 2 thumb screws at the back hold the top cage, and the drives are accessed exclusively from the rear as well. Each cage gives us 3 slots, and one thing I was really disappointed to see are these brackets. They are back. No, these are probably the worst drive caddies ever. So the amount of flex these exhibit on all of the joints is just unbearable. They snap easily and don't securely sit inside the case. Also, once installed, the SSDs are further back, so routing your SATA cables may be challenging. Without the top drive cage, we get full clearance and additional airflow for your graphics, but even with the cage in place, we still get 11.4 inches of clearance. Coming around to the back, we have an abundance of cable type points, and while not a wide gap to work with and a pretty small sleeve at the bottom for some small cables, the Phantom 240 was actually surprisingly easy to work in. And once fully assembled, it's actually quite impressive at how well it cleans up, thanks to all the properly placed cutouts around the motherboard. Just wish we had rubber grommets to seal the deal. We still get plenty of clearance up top as well, so push and pull configurations are not totally out of line thanks to the tall top cover. And as you can see, with a few zip ties and some quick routing, all of the cables are flush to the case, so closing the panel doesn't require you to stand on it. Now the Phantom 240 feels like a finely polished and ready $70 enclosure with all the needed cooling potential, top radiator friendly, modular drive cage for a little bit of flexibility, and impressively solid build quality without flexing frame. Of course, I would like to see rubber grommets, proper dust filters for the bottom, and please get rid of the flimsy drive caddies, but my major complaint here would be the oversight of front panel design that almost completely covers the second fan slot. And I would love to see a front panel open up with a bigger mesh, but other than that, this is one damn good value contender, and NZXT has done it again with a Phantom line that you should seriously consider if $70 is your budget point. Of course, if you are willing to be flexible, make sure to check out the following options that offer better value for just a little more. Although if $69 is the spot, check out the N400 from Cooler Master or the 200R from Corsair, as we realize this Phantom design may not tickle your fancy, but let us know how you feel about the P240, and aside from the white, what other colors you'd like to see. As always, leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.